It's a pleasure for me to stand here on behalf of dozens, probably hundreds of businesses across Bromsgrove, many of which are run by families. And it's really quite discomforting to also stand here and hear from Labour sort of a sense of sheer denial and arrogance as to what actually drives growth in our economy. I think what I find most despondent of all is that the government's default ideological position is one where their sort of mentality is what taxes can we raise, rather than how can we as government cut our cloth accordingly and pass on the benefits of that to the economy in the form of reduced taxes. Their default position is what taxes can we increase on the businesses that provide the very backbone of our prosperity. And in that vein, family businesses provide employment for almost 14 million people across the country, and they contribute £575 billion to the national economy. And these businesses are founded on principles of entrepreneurialism, which I'm proud that my party has championed for decades. Labour are showing once again that they do not understand the value of business. They only know how to tax and to regulate enterprise that ultimately makes our economy weaker and poorer. I will give way to my honourable friend.
I'm very grateful. They may speak of their support for small business and they may speak of their passion for it, but they will never speak of their experience of setting up and running one. Very limited experience on those benches, and isn't that actually part of the problem? Having never set up and run one, they have no idea of the impact of their policies on one.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that strikes at the heart of the government's lack of appreciation for what fundamentally drives the economy. I will give way.
To be fair to the opposition, we may not know what their CVs show, so there could be business experience there. It's just not on a CV.
My honourable friend probably raises a very valid point, Madam Deputy Speaker. But let's just look at the facts. The government will attempt to tarnish Conservatives' record, but in July, Labour inherited the fastest growing economy in the G7, with unemployment near record lows and inflation at the Bank of England's target. We've seen a complete reversal of this, and that is in part due to the choices that the government have made in their budget that has destroyed that progress. The budget from the government and their fundamental approach overall threatens the future of family businesses through new red tape. We've got the family business tax, the family farm tax, the national insurance jobs tax. Businesses know that they are paying more. The government know that businesses are paying more. And I don't know how some of them have the gall to frankly sit there and accept that their position is one of honesty and credibility when it comes to growing the economy. I'd like to cite an example, if I can, Madam Deputy Speaker, a business in my patch that have got in touch with me. And this comes from Jack, whose family run an apprenticeship training provider. Jack said, "My parents left school with no qualifications. Over the last 50 years, they've worked hard, paying their way, getting on, building a good life and business for us as a family. Since 2007, they've been majority shareholders and owners of a business called Birmingham Electrical Training, which Jack is also a director. They are currently the second biggest provider of electrical apprenticeships in the UK and train 700 plus apprentices in partnership with 275 local and national contractors, many of which reside and work within the West Midlands region. They hold a Department of Education contract. They're recognised by the electrical industry in providing a crucial role in training the next generation of electricians." Pertinent point, Madam Deputy Speaker, when the government is pursuing policies such as the ludicrous clean heat market mechanism, which will require a step change in electrical contractors in order to deliver on some of the government's net zero folly. But the point that Jack makes, and he quotes this, "There is no way that I would be able to afford the £800,000 worth of tax to access the business which I've had to build and grow over the past 10 years as a result of the changes announced by the Chancellor to inheritance tax. He will personally be liable for £800,000 that he will not be in a position to pay. This jeopardises a family business that is at the forefront and backbone of the country's economy." He asks, why would the government want to destroy family business, which is crucial to helping local people, providing growth in years to come? And this is not an isolated case, Madam Deputy Speaker. The Confederation of British Industry And Family Business UK have warned that changes to business property relief could lead to up to 125,000 job losses and reduce economic output by £9.4 billion, as their analysis found average family businesses would cut investment by a staggering 16.5%, reduce headcount by 10.2%, and lose turnover of 74%. This recognises that government does not appreciate the fundamental benefits, the positive benefits to wider society of promoting small businesses and their long-term financial viability. The government is making the UK a hostile destination for investment, both large and small. Government must work to ensure that our country is the most attractive possible destination for businesses to invest and grow and to make us wealthier.
Will the honourable member give way?
I will give way.
Thank you. For some family businesses, like for some that are in my constituency, their main competitors are actually international companies. Does my honourable friend agree with me that this government has not actually considered how increasing costs for UK businesses is actually making some of our family businesses less competitive?
My honourable friend, she hits the nail on the head. And what particularly rings in my ears, Madam Deputy Speaker, are words from the Chancellor just a few months ago when she said that businesses need to cut their cloth accordingly. And I go back to my initial point. Government must also cut its cloth accordingly. The default position of government in order to support business should be, how can government spend taxpayers' money, that those are the funds generated by the very businesses that we're talking about, in the most efficient way possible so that we can have as low a tax base in our economy as possible to make the UK that great destination for inward investment.
He's talking about cutting its cloth, so perhaps he can tell the 14 million people employed by family businesses how he would cut the public services they rely on in order to be able to fund the unfunded tax claims he's making.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the intervention that the honourable gentleman has made is a good one in that you demonstrate the point. The honourable member, Madam Deputy Speaker, demonstrates the point that his party philosophically believes that you either have to tax or cut. They don't have any appreciation. The government has no appreciation, Madam Deputy Speaker, of the fact that money could be spent more effectively in the first instance. It's a fundamental ideological weakness with the government.
Would my honourable friend give way?
I will give way.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. Does he think...
Please be seated. You have 10 seconds left, Mr. Thomas. Do you want to finish?
I'll finish, Madam Deputy Speaker, by saying that I will always be proud to stand up for small businesses in Bromsgrove and villages and across the country.